Chapter 2 Children of Stone. The Lion of Grond, 1,200 years before the Dark Portal. The Apax's empire, while it was still at its height, permanently shattered the power of the Evergrowth. This allowed other races the opportunity to grow, free from the threat of having their burgeoning societies choked away by the primals. Conflict between these emergent cultures and the Arakoa was rare. They did not occupy the same land, nor did they survive on the same resources. The Arakoa soared through the skies, and those on the ground needed not fear them, but the descendants of Grond did not live peacefully with one another. By the time Arakoan civilization had fallen, the children of stone had grown in number and spread across the land. Relatively small population of Grond, powerful and massive giants who towered above the jungles and forests, still roamed the world. They lived in solitude. No place on Draenor could sustain the hunting needs for multiple Grond at once. When they met, they often fought to the death over territory. Other creatures, smaller in stature than the Grond, came together to form rudimentary societies. The Ogron, though brutish, cruel beings, quickly learned the value of working together. Strength in numbers meant the conquest of their rivals. Isolation meant defeat and death. These early tribes warred constantly. The pride of an Ogron was easily wounded, and only blood could repay an insult. Most of the world's other races were beneath their notice, save when they could serve as food or slave labor. Even the races that shared a common ancestry with the Ogron were not spared. Ogres and orcs quickly learned to fear the attention of the larger Ogron. The best fate a conquered ogre clan could hope for was to be sent into battle as disposable combatants to fight against other Ogron tribes. Sick, weak, or elderly ogres were typically offered as living sacrifices to appease the Grond and keep them from attacking Ogron territories. The smallest of Grond's descendants were the orcs, and they stayed far, far away from Ogron lands. The largest orc settlement of this time was in a massive cave network beneath Gorgrond. Though it was not a bountiful region, the orcs preferred living in meager, but free, existence to enduring the horrors of life as Ogron slaves. The Gorian Empire, 1,000 years before the Dark Portal. In the centuries after the Apaxi society collapsed, Arakoa priests and sorceresses had spread across the land, taking with them many of their race's coveted crystal shards. Small conclaves of Galaxy Arakoa began searching the land for more of these nuggets of knowledge and power. Some sought personal glory. Some sought to preserve the wonders of their fallen people. Some even believed that a new golden age might emerge if the Arakoa could collect enough of the ancient wisdom and build their society anew. This Galaxy leader, Jonsi, learned that critical caches of knowledge were buried beneath the ruins of the Apaxi coastal settlement in Talador, a place now occupied by Ogron. Attempts to bribe or barter with the Ogron rulers ended violently. Though far less intelligent creatures, the Ogron were quite formidable when it came to size and strength. The Arakoa retreated, biding their time. Yonzi and his followers observed the Ogron tribe from the sky, searching for opportunities to topple the brutes by force. One quickly presented itself: the Ogron slaves. The ogres, though not as mighty as their barbaric masters, were more intelligent. Most importantly, their enslavement made them angry. Only fear kept them from revolting. Arakoa sorceresses began to approach the ogres in secret, offering to teach them the ways of the arcane magic. The slaves proved to be excellent students. They were distant descendants of Grond, a creature empowered by the Titan Agramar, and thus they were naturally attuned to the arcane. The Galaxy were surprised and delighted by this discovery. They had never seen new spellcasting techniques be developed so effortlessly. The ogres held a special affinity for the earth, and they could use arcane powers to shape and bend rock and stone to their will. One of the first ogres to master this new power was named Gog, and this galaxy believed he was the perfect leader to inspire a full-scale rebellion. Empowered, Gog strode forth, but not to fight the Ogron. He had a far more significant target in mind: the Gron, the giant predators whom all ogres revered and feared as deities. Even the Arakoa were stunned at his ambition, but they couldn't argue with the results. Gog single-handedly struck down a Gron, and the story of his bloody conquest spread among the captive ogres like wildfire. He killed another, and another. By the time he had defeated his fifth Gron, whispers of his deed had reached almost all ogre settlements. Gron were seen as towering monstrosities, practically gods in stature and power. They could not be killed, not by the likes of an ogre. At least, that was what the slaves had once believed. Gog's heroics had shattered that belief. If Gron could be slain, what did the ogres have to fear from the Ogron? When Gog, the Gron Slayer, returned to his people, there was no need to spend time convincing the other slaves to revolt. They rose up together against the Ogron overlords, igniting a bloody war. There was a catastrophic loss of life on both sides. The Arakoa patiently watched from a distance, eager to claim their crystals from the Ogron settlement. In the end, nearly every Ogron tribe fell to their captives. The ogres' thirst for vengeance and their newfound arcane magics were too much to withstand. The Ogron who were not torn limb from limb were forced to scatter across the world to escape. After the ogres cast off the chains of slavery, the Galaxy's sorceresses quietly moved in, searching for Apax's relics and artifacts in the ruins of the city. Gog the Gron Slayer put a quick end to that. As a sorcerer himself, he had no interest in giving away any potential source of power. The ogres had paid for the land with blood. Gog declared himself Gorgog, King Gog, and proclaimed he was the ruler of this city. He renamed it Goria, the Throne of the King. Gog commanded Yonzi and his Galaxy followers to leave the area on pain of death. The Arakoa did leave, but not for long. Gog's actions infuriated Yonzi and his kin, and they decided to take the land by force. In the dead of night, the Arakoa sorceresses launched a surprise attack against the fledgling city of Goria. Gog and his apprentice arcanists fought back, bolstered by the countless ranks of newly freed ogres who saw him as their savior. The king defeated the Arakoa and captured Yonzi. This Galaxy leader's death did not come slow. The tales of Yonzi's gruesome end at Gog's hand spread across the land. Despite the promise of undiscovered Apaxi crystals, further Arakoan incursions on ogre holdings were few and far between after that. The Gorian Empire slowly expanded over generations. Though the ogres were not focused on conquest, wide swaths of land fell under their control. Roaming Gron and Ogron were hunted down wherever they were found, paving the way for new settlements. Cities sprang up throughout the world's continents. The two largest were Highmall, located in the western Nagrand, and Bladespire Hold, tucked away in Frostfire Ridge. These cities became highly militant outposts that constantly expanded the Ogre Empire's borders. An advanced trade network, crossing land and sea, was established to link Goria with the far-flung strongholds. Goria itself remained the capital and a distinguished place for apprentices to train in the arcane arts. Apaxi's crystals became highly prized there, the fragments of Arakoan knowledge eagerly sought by the most learned ogre sorceresses. The ogres' practice of sorcery and their exposure to raw arcane magic had some unexpected side effects. Though it was very rare, children would sometimes be born with two heads. It soon became clear that these ogres were astonishingly gifted spellcasters, and their appearance was seen as a good omen. In time, Goria's arcanists even developed spells to replicate this phenomenon, causing normal ogres to grow a second head, increasing their intelligence and aptitude for magic.